Dear friends, today we have a special episode of Super Tony's Adventures. Enjoy! Hello everyone, and to you, Tony, farewell. Didn't you know? A huge and evil monster named Huggy Wuggi is broken free and wants to devour you. Stop panicking. I and our army of subscribers are with you. We're going to figure out who Huggy Wuggi is, where he came from, and how to defeat him. And then we'll save you. Hopefully. Yeah, there's a good chance you'll make it. You'll be okay. I guess. We'll see. You won't, but we will. Well, alright, let's start already. Huggy Wuggi is a 4-meter humanoid, covered in bright blue, thick fur. He has a big head with 2 eyes, black dilated pupils, and wide cartoonish red lips that form a very shady smile. Behind his smile, you'll find 4 rows of sharp, thin teeth, capable of grinding anything or anyone. But let's go back to the original source, namely to the acclaimed and insanely popular game Poppy Playtime. In it, you find yourself in an abandoned toy factory. While exploring the area, you find a lot of clues and learn that about 10 years ago, this factory was incredibly successful. It produced hundreds of different toys, but the most popular was Poppy. It was a talking doll that could talk to children and be their friend. Later, Huggy Wuggi, a huge soft and fluffy toy, was created. Its main function was to hug its owner with its soft, fluffy, and very long arms. So far, it all sounds nice and sweet, but at some point, you find out the factory was not only making toys, but also conducting very unusual experiments. Their goal was to create a toy with artificial intelligence, capable of entertaining its owner and replacing their human friends. And apparently, the experiment was successful, but the result wasn't what the scientists hoped for. Huggy Wuggi became sentient and ate all the workers in the factory, yet he never left the confines of the building. While you walk around the factory and solve all kinds of puzzles, the blue monster first follows you and then begins to hunt you, driving you further and further into the unexplored depths of the factory. By the way, despite the fact that Huggy is very large, he can follow you even through narrow ventilation shafts. After all, he's a toy and has no bones, so he can bend and wriggle as he likes. If you've played this game before and know how it ended, perhaps you know the following theory. Some people believe that it was actually Poppy who gained intelligence, after which she subjugated Huggy and made him chase you into the depths of the factory. She wants you to find her and free her from her years of imprisonment. So Huggy isn't really evil at all, he's just a puppet. According to another theory, the toy acts together and the blue giant willingly ate all the workers and now wants to eat the main character, i.e. you. But don't blame him, he's just very hungry and, as any trapped predator, want to survive by any means. By the way, in one of the vents of the factory, you can find an inscription that reads, "I am so hungry," which is another fact to support this theory. Overall, there are many theories about the origin of the blue monster, but we still know very little about him. But don't worry, Poppy Playtime was released as Chapter 1, so at the very least there will be a second chapter, and then maybe a third or more. I think they'll tell us all the secrets of this mysterious factory and its creepy inhabitants. I'll tell you a secret. Rumor has it that the second chapter is scheduled for release for March 2022. But shh, that's between us. Personally, Tony and I are very interested in getting to know the new killer toys and learning more about Huggy Wuggi. After all, he's already become an iconic horror character, along with famous villains such as Chucky, Slender Man, Freddy Krueger, and others. By the way, we did special issues about them too. Click on the link in the description to see them. There's a special playlist with all of our videos about monsters and maniacs. 8 years have passed since we all learned about the mysteries of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the murdered children, the possessed animatronics, and the mysterious bite of 87. The game's author had no idea how many fans would gather around his product. From its inception, there have been 13 games, 12 books, 3 official comics, and a bunch of music tracks. Even a movie was announced, but unfortunately, it has not yet been made. It all started in Houston in Scott Cawthon's apartment. He was a game developer and his career started back in the 90s. His first project was Doofus, a game he created in 1994. Almost nobody had heard of it because there isn't much to hear. The game turned out to be full of bugs and not particularly interesting. Scott later released a large number of games, many of which were criticized by the public. In particular, the game Chipper and Sons Lumber Co. People complained about the animations and characters that looked like scary animatronic creatures. In case you don't know, animatronics are huge toy animals that have an endoskeleton inside them. They can sing songs and move different parts of their bodies. Such machines were popular in the 1980s in the US. They were often placed in cafeterias and shopping malls. But back to our developer. After many years of failure, Scott fell into a deep depression and even considered changing careers. But before he left, he decided to release one last game. The animatronics that critics didn't like in his previous games became the basis of a new horror game. He even started a fundraising campaign, but got $0. So he had to pay for the game from his own pocket. Scott was inspired by memories of animatronic he saw in restaurants when he was a kid. Just like in the game, the toys performed for the people there, singing songs and entertaining the children. By the way, during the creation of the game, he had nightmares in which animatronic monsters came after him. By the way, the voice that sounds from the phone and helps the main character to settle in at his new workplace is the real voice of Scott Cawthon. And so, in June 13, 2014, an unusual horror game called Five Nights at Freddy's was announced. The next day, the trailer came out and caught people's attention, and on August 8th, the game was released, surpassing all expectations. For all of you, no matter whether you've played the game, we are gonna learn how it was created, the features that make its gameplay unique, and the reason why it became so popular. Let's go! Among Us was developed by the small game studio Inner Sloth. Inside the game, the players become crew members of a spaceship. At the start, the game randomly selects one or several imposters. They try to sabotage the ship and kill the rest of the crew. Meanwhile, the crewmates perform different tasks to keep the ship going and try to find who the imposters are. If someone discovers a body, an emergency meeting is called. All players must choose one suspect, and the person with the most votes is removed from the game. Only after that, everyone finds out who the suspect was, an imposter or a crewmate. You probably think it sounds familiar, even if you haven't played, right? In fact, this game was inspired by the party game Mafia, which is played by groups of friends all over the world. But in 2020, many of us have to stay home, so this digital and space-themed version of Mafia has come in handy. However, in fact, Among Us was released back in 2018. Only a few dozens of people played the game back then, and now it's millions. But why it became so popular? There are two reasons: Twitch and YouTube. Streamers started to play with their friends, streaming the game in their channels. More and more people started to play, and here we are. In just a few months, these little astronauts became the most popular thing on the internet. Today, more than 100,000 people play this game every day. And why not? The gameplay is simple, but interesting. The graphics are funny and not demanding. You don't need a powerful device to play, and there is a lot of passion involved. What else you need for entertainment? And we're not getting paid for saying this, we promise. By the way, the developers were planning to make a sequel, but suddenly the game became so popular that they changed their minds and decided to improve the game they already have, adding some new features. Wow, Tony, are you playing Minecraft again? It's an awesome game, I know. Everyone has played it or at least has heard about it. But do you know how this game was made? Want to hear the story? I think our followers will find it interesting too. The creator of Minecraft is Marcus Pearson. He developed the first version of the game in his spare time in late 2008. He kept improving his creation, and Minecraft was finally released to the public in May 2009. At that time, there were only 2 blocks, grass and cobblestone. The map looked weird and ugly, there was no logic, and all you could do was move around and jump. The next version of the game appeared just 3 days later, with added mobs running around and waving their hands. Other blocks like dirt, ores, and tree trunks were added as well, and you could move them around, place them, or delete them. The game developed very quickly. New blocks appeared every 5 days, and the in-game world's features were improved and refined. Soon, water around the map and lava were added. After that, the developers began experimenting. The blocks of dirt, stone, and grass weren't square anymore, but had different shapes depending on the world around them. If Minecraft kept developing in this direction, the game would have looked quite different. But in June 2009, the multiplayer was introduced, and the blocks took their familiar square shape again. Of course, it wasn't all smooth and easy. There were a lot of bugs in the game, although they were fixed rather quickly. It was clear that Marcus enjoyed developing the game, and that he put his heart and soul into this project. And then the 0.24 version was launched. The beautiful world of Minecraft finally looked like the one we're used to now. Your character is health and hunger, and you can craft all kinds of things. This is known as survival mode. This version and several following updates are considered to be the classic versions of Minecraft. In 2010, Marcus started the company Mojang, rented an office, and invited former colleagues to work for him. The game was being now developed at a faster pace. After that, there was a lot of excitement around Minecraft. Many people fell in love with the game and became loyal fans after seeing their friends or just by watching videos on YouTube. On November 18, 2011, the full version of Minecraft was released, and it is still being constantly improved. In 2014, Microsoft bought Marcus's company. Fortunately, that didn't affect the game at all. Minecraft is being improved every now and then, and people still love it. But what comes next? Nobody knows. We'll have to wait and hope that the future of Minecraft would be as brilliant as its past. Get ready, friends, because, believe it or not, this is the most educational video in the history of YouTube. Make sure to watch it till the end and then show it to your parents, because Tony and I are going to tell you everything about how video games are good for you. Turns out, they develop your mind and reaction, help you cope with pain, and can even teach you how to see in the dark. Want to know more? Then keep watching. First of all, video games improve your multitasking skills. When playing, you constantly get new quests and switch between different tasks. Your brain is always alert, which can be stressful, but it teaches you to perform several tasks at once. According to researchers, gamers are able to think strategically, and it's easier for them to focus and find the right solution. Now, here's benefit number 2. Video games teach to see in the dark. People believe that playing computer games for hours can affect your vision. However, what you probably don't know is that we have been using monitors and TVs that are safe for our eyes for quite some time. When you play dark and noir games, your eyes try to distinguish the slightest changes on the screen, like moving shades and rushing silhouettes. All this improves your perception of dark and gray colors, allowing you to better distinguish objects in the dark. Benefit number 3. Video games increase your pain tolerance. Scientists conducted an experiment and found out that patients suffering from pain or are subject to painful procedures feel better when playing games. Their pain rating decreased by 30 to 50%. This is very easy to explain. When your brain is engaged in a game, it's too busy to pay attention to the pain. So, games can become the painkiller of the 21st century. Benefit number 4. Video games can cure you. They are being actively used to fight paralysis. Scientists from a Tel Aviv university found that patients playing video games are more likely to regain their fine motor skills. By the way, if you don't have any health issues, you might as well play some games to improve your fine motor skills. Benefit number 5. Video games slow down aging. Oddly enough, games do have this superpower. It was discovered during a study in 2013 with the participation of over 600 people, over 50 years old. They spent 2 hours a week playing for a long period of time and managed to slow down their aging process by about 7 years. However, you should keep in mind that not every game is able to do that, according to Jason Allaire, professor of psychology. Whenever you do anything that requires mental energy, you're exercising your abilities. It's just like if you exercise your muscles, you get stronger, he says. Benefit number 6. Video games help you relax. People often use games to rest their mind and forget about their problems for a while. And research has shown that this actually works. For example, quests and puzzles reduce stress and improve your mood. Besides, many video games, including violent ones, allow you to blow off some steam. According to statistics, people who play video games all the time aren't cruel in real life and lead a very quiet life. Also, some statistics show that crime rates decline for several months after the release of every GTA game. Benefit number 7. video games improve social adaptation. There's a myth that people who play video games are very shy. Well, researchers from different American and British universities discovered that gamers can be very sociable and friendly. According to them, an average gamer is not an antisocial person who spends weeks without leaving their home. Actually, gamers are socially active and engage with people who share their love for video games. They can engage in relationships and form new families. And finally, the mental skills you develop thanks to video games are likely to help you succeed in real life. For example, practicing in action video games helps young pilots to fly planes and helicopters, and doctors have learned some surgical skills. Gamers are more likely to easily fly a drone than people with no gaming experience. Besides, video games help you learn about science. Although we're talking about games stimulating your brain to develop, not just teaching you things. But of course, we have to mention that games can be harmful too. You have to be careful, because if you play too much, you can lose the grip of reality. There have already been many cases. Remember, video games won't set up your love life and won't make you rich. Well, unless you're a professional player. Although I must say, only a few people can become professional gamers, and even fewer can make money out of it. Okay friends, tell us how often you play video games and which games are your favorite. The best comments will be featured in the next episode. Give us a like and click on the bell if you want to see some more videos of Super Tony. Bye bye!